here at the University of California, Berkeley campus here in Berkeley, California, just across the bay from the Golden Gate Bridge. And we're here to watch INET, the Institute for New Economic Thinking, have a meeting with the economics department here at Berkeley's campus. These are undergrads, graduate students, and professors who are interested in the mission of INET, which frankly is quite audacious. And we're here to watch INET's executive director, Rob Johnson, as he really puts out the mission of INET and starts to engage this next generation of thinkers.
Well, you want to enlist young people because we're trying to change the nature of economics with a 20-year time frame. The crisis is the onset. It's kind of a shock to us all, and it unmasks the failures of economics. But what we have to build is a much longer process in putting things back together. What I want to do is inspire young people that going into economics right now is a great opportunity. There are more economics majors, but there are also more people who get frustrated with economics and leave and go do things like financial history now at the undergraduate level. So what we want to do is help economics evolve so that they stay in the discipline, but the discipline transforms to be a better service both to mankind and to this curiosity of students.
So what Rob's doing is he's going college by college by college, really talking to the leadership of these places to open up academia, to change some of the systemic ways that they do things, and to support this next generation of economists to really do creative, out-of-the-box thinking and real innovative work.
I think that the discipline is looking for a way to be more relevant. And so it's really at one of those soul-searching moments. And I think it's really interesting to see a discipline say, like, we didn't step up to the plate, we've dropped the ball, and let's figure out ways that we can improve things and really be relevant to people and to policymakers to make things better for people. And I think that's very interesting.
Thank you all for joining us here today. I'd like to turn this as much into a conversation as possible so that you can learn more about INET and we can all explore the challenges that confront economics as we're going forward.
We're all up here, I guess, this afternoon because we're interested in applying economics to real-world problems, of which we have plenty in the wake of the financial crisis.
So the program's going on in there already. And what INET does, and what Rob's been doing at these different college campuses, is he'll go, not just by himself, he usually joins up with what we think of as kind of some rock star economists. It was Joe Stiglitz and Akerlof on the East Coast, and here he's got Christina Romer.
What's the impact of a financial crisis on our long-run growth?
He's got Brad DeLong.
It is certainly true that the economics profession as a whole not only did not see, but has reacted, all in all, rather badly to the crisis.
He engages these top-level economists to talk about some of the challenges the field's facing and some of the things that INET might be able to help out with.
You know, some of the things that are at the top of my list, you know, what's the impact of credit contractions? I think to this day we don't really know what's the linkage. What is it about what went on that made firms just shed labor and stop to the degree that they did? I think one of the biggest questions is going to be going forward, you know, what do we expect from consumers? Is Richard Koo right that we're in a major deleveraging and we're in for a long period of anemic demand? Or is some of our more standard consumer theory going to be correct? How do you avoid throwing out some of what was good in the old paradigm as we're trying to get new things? So what's kind of the process that you envision for sifting through the new ideas that come?
I mean, we're defining on the fly. What do we mean by new economic thinking? And we were acutely conscious of the fact that when we put out these first grants, people would draw inferences about what we meant.
A lot of what these college tour events are all about is to have Rob open up a dialogue with the students, interact with the students and get their ideas on what they think is happening in the field. What are the problems? What could be done differently? What are their hopes, their aspirations? What are their ideas, their new ideas? Ultimately, it's the next generation of economists who are going to change the field in the future, and they're the ones that Rob and INET really want to reach.
For me, I'm not saying the crisis is good, but it's good because it does give people motivations. I like finance, so understanding the role of the financial system, for example, for me was important from before, but now people are realizing that it is important to study those things.
This has given people an opportunity to revise their theories, gather new evidence, kind of, you have a shock to the system essentially, and then you get to see what's happening.
I'm somewhat fearful that we don't seem yet to have escaped, in particular, even talking about like global warming as an externality, we're really having troubles escaping sort of you have to keep your foot on the accelerator economics. That if you don't have growth of a couple % a year, you wind up with misery, like with unemployment. You don't wind up with a smaller TV because you wanted to save resources. You wind up with unemployed people being miserable. And until somebody can answer that, it's very hard to take the foot off the accelerator and live saner lives that don't destroy the planet.
I think the way to make the change is, in fact, to kind of invest in the next generation of scholars on these topics. That's exactly the way to do it. And, so in some sense, infiltrate the economics profession with people who are kind of, who are thinking about these important issues in kind of new and interesting and insightful ways.
I think there's a quote that scientific progress proceeds funeral by funeral. So I don't know to what extent one should expect most existing economists to change their views overnight and start doing economic history. I mean, if you've got your great endowed professorship somewhere and you got it by writing applied mathematical papers, it would take a lot to wake up and say, that work I was doing was all useless and graduate students shouldn't do that anymore and I got to do something completely different now. So I think one can't hope for too much of that, but I think the kind of funding that you have for Berkeley is great if you can get more young people to start doing other things that are more empirically relevant. Then I think over a couple of decades you could see a dramatic change would be the hope.
So it's the end of a long day and a really good getting together with the economics students here at Berkeley.
Berkeley is one campus among many. It's one piece in a much larger strategy. Rob's going to go on to other colleges and universities, from the small liberal arts colleges to large universities and some of the leading economics departments all over the world. It's all about building a network of young economists, a community of economists that will think through economics over time. And part of what Rob believes is that you have to connect with individuals, sometimes face to face, have that touch, that feel, that individual notion. So Rob and other leaders of INET are going to spread the word of INET. They're going to engage this next generation of economists and find ways to support them as they rethink fundamentally the economics of the 21st century over the next 10, 20, and even 30 years.